Okay, so graphics. We're going to do GIMP. Intro to GIMP. GIMP is our friend. It's like Photoshop, but free. So the very first thing you'll do is Windows single window mode. When you open it by default, it's got this thing where it's got crap all over. And it's really confusing, and I don't care for it a heck of a lot myself. So I do single window mode, which means now everything is in a single window and I don't have stuff all over the place. So what I typically do in GIMP is I'll open a recent. What do we got here? I guess this is fun. Picture. I can open a picture. The biggest thing that you want to realize is when you open a picture, you're opening a picture, but the other thing you can open is XCF files. This is an XCF file. XCF is GIMP's file format. Nothing else opens it. Doesn't do you any good to send it to anybody. It's useless outside of GIMP. But in GIMP, it opens and gives you this, which is, in this case, a logo with a lot of different layers. So what I've got here, basically work in layers. There's a background I can turn on and off. If I highlight the background, I can turn that on and off. I can turn other layers on and off. Don't know what those do. Nothing, I guess. This is the blue color. This is some shading. This is this thing. Okay, so anyway, I can put all these layers together. The important part is when I get done building something in GIMP, file save that XCF file. So very handy for opening up in GIMP and editing something later, but totally useless if we want to use this somewhere. So this is a logo. So I'm going to turn the back off so it's transparent. Now when I save it, typically image files are JPEGs, JPG, all lowercase, no uppercase, no JPEG, none of that monkey business, always uniform JPG. The other option is PNG, Portable Network Graphics. PNG files allow for alpha transparency, and that means the background is alpha, your alpha layer. So we are going to save this logo as logo XCF so I can work on it again, but to use it on the website I need to export it. So what I do is I click on export, then I can call it logo PNG. I can save it for use. Hit export. I'm not going to do it right now, but the other thing, and that would be a logo. The other thing is optimizing images. If I got an image that's a background image, I get this great big image, and I go File, Export As, and I'm going to export this thing out. Background image, we don't have any transparency, so I'm going to save it as a JPG because they're a little more compact. We want to make sure our images are not too big. This is a background image. Right here it tells me it's 2000 by 13333. So 2000 is the width I want for a background image. I'm going to export it as a JPEG. I hit export. One thing that happens, sorry about that, I realized I'm off the screen, you can't see what I'm doing. When I hit export, what happens is I get this. Now, this is interesting because I know that I don't want some ginormous file size. Actually, my images, I really don't want anything over like 300K if I can. So right here, I click on that and it tells me 146.5 kilobytes. Well, that's awesome. If it wasn't awesome, if it was too big, I could actually reduce the quality using compression. I usually don't go lower than 70, but look at that, 115. So I can actually save some file size here by reducing the quality. So 100% it's 300 kilobytes. Look at the difference, 100 to 90%, half the file size. So that's really cool. If I can have a file that size, it's 152 kilobytes. But I'm going to export it as a JPEG. So that's something in general you'll do. Here's a perfect example of a raw file, this one right here. 11.3 megabytes. That's huge. So I'm going to do open. I'm going to open that thing up once. Here's a dialog that comes up a lot. Convert to RGB working space. Yes, we always want that. I'm going to get this out of the way for now so you can see this is what the image started out as. 5,506 pixels wide. So 5,000 pixels wide. If I tried to export this sucker as it is, I'm going to get this. I'm just going to change this. If I hit export, when that dialog opens, calculating, it's even taking time to calculate the file size. It's so huge, 10 megabytes. If I turn the quality down, look at what I saved, a ton. But this is an example of, I don't want images that are 5,000. So what I'm going to do is resize it. So let's do a basic, this is the most basic thing you're going to do. Big image from Unsplash, ginormous thing, image, scale image, 2000. The height will automatically go because they're connected. If I wanted them to not be connected, I would unconnect the width and the height, but I lock them together so it doesn't change aspect ratio. Sometimes you will see this is the resolution. So this is pixels per inch. Sometimes you will see 300 or some odd number. Almost everything on the web is 72 pixels per inch. Anyway, I hit scale. Looks really microscopic. I realize down here it's actually pretty big if I do 100%, but maybe 50% I can see the whole thing. So there's my image. Now I'm going to do export as. So I've taken this ginormous image, shrunk it down. I'm going to show this. Still 2.7 megabytes. Look at that. Now I'm down to 242. And that is somebody we don't need to talk to sales call. So anyway, 242 kilobytes. So I can export that out and use that on the website. So I've taken an image that was 11.3 megabytes and 5,000 some pixels and reduced that down to 2,000 pixels wide and compressed it down to 242.9 kilobytes. So that's incredible because if I didn't have a picture that size, the website would load really slow every time it loaded that picture. And if there's 5 pictures on a page, then it loads 5 times slower. So very important to optimize your images for anything to do with a website, especially the big background images. Now, if this was an image I was just going to use somewhere on a page, I might go image, scale image, 800. And again, this automatically redoes its scale. This would be an image size I would probably use somewhere on a page. As just a page image here or there in an article or, whatever. Suitable for uploading. When I go, just as a little side note, if I go to export that, give it a new name. If I go to export that, even at 100%, it's only 400. So if I went down to 70, 41 kilobytes, that's nothing. Teeny tiny. So really pays, makes a big difference. Like I said, when all these add up on a website, you've got 20 pictures on a page or a big 3 background images and 2 other images, and all this stuff has to load, plus all the code. So optimizing images is very important. When I'm done with this, if I ever wanted to come back to it and I did a bunch of weird stuff, like there's filters in here, so I can do, well, let's just look at something silly here. Okay, so I could do some Obama Hope filter crap. And maybe it creates all these layers, and maybe I decide I'm going to modify that even, and this is somehow a thing that I want. Whatever it is, this is cool. If I want to come back and edit this later and I export it, I can't do that because exporting it puts it all together. So I'm going to file, save as. Notice again, XCF. That means it's going to be a project file for GIMP, and I'm going to save this in the folder I'm working on to come back and work on it later. So maybe later I come back and decide I do want this and this on, whatever. So again, saving files is XCF, so you can open them again in GIMP with multiple layers and edit them. And exporting as JPEGs, or if transparent backgrounds, PNG, portable network graphics. That's basic GIMP.